Okay, so the latest Liverpool transfer news links Liverpool to a speed demon, Samuel Chukwueze, a young Nigerian lad. And there's been some interesting developments in his personal life this week, which suggests that he may well be open to a move. So we'll have a good look at who he is, where he's been, is he any good for Liverpool, and delve into him a little bit deeper. But before we start, if you're new to this channel, if you want to keep up to date with videos like this on Liverpool and other top Premier League clubs, keep an eye on what they're doing in terms of news, transfers, match analysis, player analysis. You can click on the subscribe button below, click the notification bell, and you'll be kept up to date with all the latest news. So onto the video. So I think listening to Jurgen Klopp this week in press conferences and in interviews, it's pretty evident that from the pre-season, the one thing he's learned is that without his front three, or if any of them are missing, he's had a good look at other players, but he hasn't quite found that missing link if there is somebody missing from his front three. And he's particularly earlier on in the pre-season, he talked about maybe Ryan Brewster playing wide, and obviously he's looking at that width as a potential area that he needs to strengthen. He's also looking that if he picks up an injury, now those front three in the Premier League, I think it was 56 goals they scored between them last year, so you can't afford to lose one of them. And if you do, and you miss a chunk of goals, then you could wave goodbye to the Premier League. Now he's had a look at Harry Wilson, he's had a look at Harvey Elliott, he's had a look at Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he's had a look at Ryan Brewster. Now my take on these is Harry Wilson, I think he's a lovely player, great player, but I'm not too sure. He's 22 years old, so he's not an 18, 19-year-old. At 22 years old, I'm not sure he's just quite got that last little bit that Klopp will need, that last little bit of quality for a good Premier League campaign. Harvey Elliott, very impressed with. I thought he would be one we wouldn't see for a year or two, but he's a 16-year-old lad. He comes on, lots of confidence, plays that wide position that Klopp is interested in. But at the end of the day, he's 16 years old, so he's going to have to be treating very carefully. There's a chance, I think, we may well see him in the Premiership a little bit this year, but it will be more about trying to develop him rather than fill a role that may be needed. So very impressed with Harvey Elliott. Oxlade-Chamberlain, he admitted it himself. He's found it hard work in pre-season coming back from that injury. And I think when players come back from a big injury, sometimes it can take them a little bit of time to get back up to speed. And he said he felt probably a bit more tired than he thought he would. And it's going to take a while just to see him back to that sort of level we've seen in the past. And there's always that injury doubt over Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's got historically, unfortunately for such a lovely player, he's got historical injuries that potentially can reoccur. And the last one is Ryan Brewster, and he started the pre-season so sharp, put the ball in the net, and then again he's drifted, and a bit like Oxlade-Chamberlain, he had lots of injury problems last year, a lot of time out. And I think it's going to take him time, and it possibly may be another season before we see him back to his best. So I think out of those players he's looked at, I still don't think he's 100% happy. Now he may have to go with it, but one player that's been linked to them, there was talk obviously of Pepe, who went to Arsenal, and we'll never know how serious that was. But one of the players that has been linked by Marca is this Samuel Chukwueze. Now, I thought I'd take a look at him and see what I make of him. And Liverpool really needs somebody that is prepared to play second fiddle, but wants to come to a big club, learn and develop. And this guy could well fit that bill. So who is he? Where's he been? Is he any good? What's his stats like? What sort of player is he? So he's 20 years old. He's a Nigerian international. He's a left-footed right winger. Plays at Villarreal in Spain in La Liga, and he can play on the left wing, but he's primarily right winger. He can also play just behind as a second striker. But when you look at his season last year, he was virtually used 90% of the time as a right winger. Now, suggested sort of prices for him, and you can really put your finger in the wind these days with prices, but a suggested sort of price that's been talked about is 36 million for him. I suggest with the likes of Nicolas Pepe going for somewhere in the region of 70-80 million, that figure's probably got another 14 million on it, nearer 50. But he's an international, just broke onto the international scene. He's played under 17 internationally for Nigeria. He was wanted to for Nigeria, wanted to play in the under 20 World Cup and the senior team in the African Nations Cup, and his club Villarreal said no, we only want him playing in one. We don't want this guy burnt out during the summer. So he played for the senior team in the African Nations Cups and scored a goal. I think it was in the quarterfinals, 2-1 win over South Africa. So he's got some international experience. He's got some Europa League experience as well. Now in 2015 he won the FIFA Under 17 World Cup Bronze Boot Award. This year in April he was voted the Nigerian Young Player Award. He's a highly talented lad, but he's got very little experience. Now he's obviously played in La Liga. He's played against your big teams, your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's. He played 88 minutes against Barcelona, scored a goal, got an assist. Played the full 90 minutes against Real Madrid, got an assist in that one, and he's pretty much had a full season in La Liga. So, you know, he's got some reasonable experience under his belt, albeit a very short experience. Now his stats for last year: 47 appearances, 10 goals, 4 assists, and internationally he's played 9 times and the 1 goal, obviously in the African Nations Cup this year. So he's very raw, he's very new, and there's not a lot to look at. But you know, when you look at him play, he's been given the nickname Speed Demon, and he's quick. What I like about him is he's happy hugging that touchline, getting the ball, and he's got that confidence and speed to take somebody on. And he looks like he loves to get to that byline. And when somebody can hug that touchline, go past a man, get to that byline, and then bring the ball back, it's very hard to defend against. And there's very few players these days that can do it. I mean, he's been compared to Aaron Robben, and you can see it when you watch him play. You can see a very similar type of player. He's got good, really close dribbling skills. You know, keeps that ball close. He's very left-footed, but I think obviously as he ages, that right foot will develop. But it never hindered Aaron Robben, did it? So he's happy to unleash a shot, happy to play people in. So he's got all that raw ability there. When you look at what coaches have said about him in terms of weaknesses, probably his decision making, and I think that can be said for all young lads at 20. But he's got that raw ingredient of speed, good dribbling, determined, he's physically strong, and you know they're sort of the raw ingredients that sometimes can be missing in some of these younger players. Harry Wilson, he looks a very talented player, but has he got that raw speed to take somebody on the wing? And I suspect not. He's quite a clever player, and we saw a superb goal in the pre-season friendly last week. You know, he can score goals, but I don't think he's quite what Klopp needs at the moment. So this lad is, like I say, he's one to look. If you get a chance to sort of watch some clips of him, have a look. Now, the thing that makes me think that he may be open to an offer was he posted out on Instagram this week that he's joined, he's got a new agency, new representatives, or agent as you'd like to refer to him, and he signed 2 days ago to Jay-Z's Rock Nation Sports Academy. And, you know, they've got the likes of people like Kevin De Bruyne, Eric Bailey, I think they've got Lukaku, and Jerome Boateng is the other one that we'll all know. So they're a big sports agency, and on his Instagram feed he put something out, you know, he's excited to join the Jay-Z's Rock Nation, and then he said big things coming. Now, when you sign a new agency, they earn their money, or they earn their bigger money when players make transfers and new contracts are negotiated and that sort of thing. So you can bet your bottom dollar they'll be going to Villarreal and wanting some form of new contract, revised contract extension, and no doubt they will be touting him around the market to see who's available. Now, Liverpool were sort of linked to him a few months ago. Nothing really has been said since. But I think he's one of those players that Klopp probably has got his eye on him, and he's probably sat and looked at those pre-season things, and there's just that area that I think he's not quite convinced of. This is a guy that could be worth a look at. So we'll keep an eye on him and see what happens. Again, it could be another one that he waits and sees how he goes in the season, and he might revisit at the January transfer window. And we'll keep an eye on him and see how he progresses. And obviously we'll keep you updated on the channel here, any major progress. If you like the videos, I'd appreciate any support you can give in terms of liking and subscribing to the channel. And thank you once again for watching.